Okay.
There's been a big kidnapping on the West Coast. The victim is Patricia Hearst, the daughter of newspaper executive Randolph Hearst and a granddaughter of the legendary William Randolph Hearst.
It was February 1974 when the Symbionese Liberation Army, a self-styled militia, kidnapped publishing heiress Patricia Hearst, a crime that captivated the nation, and took an even more shocking turn when Hearst joined her kidnappers.
I'm beginning to feel that the FBI would rather that I get killed than safely released. I have chosen to stay and fight.
Hearst next showed up on a San Francisco bank surveillance video, participating in a robbery, armed with a semi-automatic weapon. With the $10,000 they stole, the SLA headed...
That was crazy. She was actually... And then this whole story unfolds months later. She's actually one of the suspects, and they're talking about all this brainwashing going on, right? What they got, the Stockholm effect, right? Is that what
the stock? Yeah, that became a big, that was her defense in trial.
Right. That was nuts.
To Southern California, where they shot up an Inglewood sporting goods store in a bid to get survival supplies.
So I remember the images of the shootout, the layout of the shopping center. And when I was a kid, a few years later, maybe I was 11, I went down with my dad. My dad had a business meeting down there, and it was in Inglewood, and we drove by, and he didn't say anything to me. I just recognized it because I watched so much of it on the news as a kid, and I'm like, Dad, this is that shopping center. And he goes, oh yeah, wow. This is a spot. So then later on in the 90s, I joined the Highway Patrol, and I first got sent to West LA, and one of our areas is Inglewood, and that shopping center was still kind of there up at that point. Now it's been totally remodeled. But I can remember even as an officer, like, oh yeah, this is where the shootout took place and all that stuff. So it was kind of all over. And I don't know what this footage is from, but the best one I saw was the one CNN did about 6 years ago. Where CNN did a whole revision of the case, and they had actually some of the SLA members being interviewed throughout the documentary. And it was pretty informative, what do you think of them or not, but it was nice. I don't know, nice is the word. It was cool to have their perspective, or informative to have their perspective, whether you think they're full of shit or not. I mean, they were able to tell you things that maybe the police or the other investigators couldn't tell you, because they were actually some of the kidnappers. Did you see that one on CNN? It was that guy, Jeffy Tubin, they call him.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's a CNN documentary on the SLA on Patty Hearst. It's really good, actually. I should watch it again. Really cool.
The getaway had gone bad.
And the community at that time was about 95% black, and they offered up all kinds of information to our detectives.
Information that led police to 54th and Compton, and to the yellow house with white trim, with the intriguing possibility that Patricia Hearst might be inside. Al Preciado and Ron McCarthy, retired LAPD colleagues, directed the on-scene SWAT response that day 40 years ago. You can see Preciado at the base of the front steps, close enough to hear the SLA leader talking inside.
This is what put SWAT on the map.
Orders to his people, a lot of profanity.
You're saying something like this put SWAT on the map, right?
Yes, this is what put everybody. Nobody had ever heard of even knew what SWAT stood for.
Remember, the TV show came out like the following year. Remember SWAT, LAPD, right?
Yeah. This is what put and all agencies across the country started organizing their special weapons teams after this.
I'm not going to give up. There was about 26 commands given to them to surrender. The lieutenant fired several rounds. They opened up with gunfire that was unprecedented in Los Angeles police history. It was just so loud and so many rounds at one time going off.
Think of it that time too. Some of those LA cops are going to be Korea and Vietnam vets at that point, early 70s, Correct. and now here they are thinking they left all that behind, and here they are right back into a massive shootout.
Exactly. And LAPD again, they were the innovators of SWAT. No police agency, because I was a cop back then, had SWAT teams. It was just nobody thought of it until this.
It sounded like a bed sheet being torn and being ripped.
And they had fully automatic weapons.
They converted semi-automatic weapons to fully automatic weapons.
LAPD had semi-automatic.
We had semi-automatic rifles,
So you're really at a
shotguns,
disadvantage
and a
too.
.38 revolver.
Police deployed tear gas.
A lot of the tear gas grenades that were being tossed would bounce off the window and it would roll down to my feet. And I was trying to kick them away from me.
The overpowering amount of tear gas filled the air and sickened everyone.
I can't. Man, I know how you feel.
Law enforcement soon realized the SLA members inside the house were determined to fight to the end, with people in South LA trapped in the middle.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, kid.
As far as I can determine, you've got as close as I have.
Look out there.
That's bad. That's bad.
It was one of the first live breaking stories broadcast on television using then new technology. The shootout attracted thousands of spectators. We had 19 SWAT members and
500 patrol officers, yeah.
But the LAPD firepower was quickly depleting.
We ran out of ammunition. And so
You ran
he
out
had,
of ammunition?
oh, yes.
I ran out of ammunition in 5 minutes.
Oh, my.
I think Albert fired more rounds than anybody. And I think he had 594 rounds.
Law enforcement decided to throw more tear gas into the house, which touched off the large amount of ammunition inside.
Chemical agent smoke is white. When we put the chemical agents in the back, black smoke came out. Fire erupts.
Police were surprised to receive return fire even as the house erupted in flames.
They had 35 millimeter film cans with C4 fused, and they threw those out because we'd hear boom.
The chopper is overhead observing the fire is raging.
Eventually, the house was engulfed in flames.
The obvious conclusion is that the Los Angeles police have indeed found the nesting place of the Symbionese Liberation Army, and there's not much left of it now.
There's not much left of it now, Bob.
When did you know then that it was done?
The house was collapsed.
And you know what? This didn't end it. This wasn't all of them.
No.
No,
No.
And then it moved on to Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I think there was a Crocker Bank robbery in Sacramento after this.
And then Little and Ramiro, two SLA members, assassinated Marcus Foster, the superintendent of schools in Oakland, after this.
Seen on itself.
Okay. The standoff lasted 2 hours. 6 SLA members died. Police estimate that over 9,000 rounds were fired by the police and the SLA. In the charred remains of the home, law enforcement found rifles, pistols, and shotguns, but no Patricia Hearst. Hearst was not in the house during the shootout. She was eventually captured 16 months later, hiding out in Northern California. She'd served 2 years in prison for her role in the SLA. 4 decades later, it's a moment etched into LA history. After 40 years, looking back, what does this mean for the city of Los Angeles?
The fact there were no citizens injured, there were no police officers injured.
A miracle.
Very fledgling unit that didn't have a lot of equipment, didn't have a lot of training, and yet we're successful because of the teamwork, and we can still survive and do this job without getting anybody injured.
Yeah, so that this story is more based on from an LA point of view,
Right.
Where this story played out.
500 officers. They had what do you say? Like 17 SWAT officers and 500 patrol officers.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a real comprehensive version of what happened from beginning to end, highly recommend check out the CNN the radical story of Patty Hearst. It's like, I think it's like 5 or 6 hours. I think I remember it's like one of those 4 or 5 part series, an hour at a time, and it goes through from the kidnapping in Berkeley and all the way through the end to the presidential pardons and updates on where these people are at now, what happened to them. Really interesting story. And like the Zodiac, these are little things in my childhood, that just resonated with me, right?
Yeah, I was on patrol on Redwood Road up in what is that, East Oakland? Redwood Road up there in the hills in East Oakland when our radio broadcast that Los Angeles Police Department's in a shootout with SLA down in Compton. And then I transferred over to the Sheriff's Department, got hired in the Sheriff's Department, and I wound up.
Look at that hat, dude. Look at that hat.
I wound up guarding Little and Ramiro, the SLA guys who killed Marcus Foster in Oakland. They got a change of venue and were tried in San Jose. And then after they got convicted, I was part of the team that took them to prison.
Right. All right. So yeah, check out the CNN one. It's Patty Hearst story, whatever it's called. That's the one I recommend. I'll probably go watch it again because it's just so captivating to watch. And just
she wound up getting a presidential pardon after this.
Right.
And I think she wound up marrying a San Francisco police officer bodyguard.
She ended up marrying one of her bodyguards. That's right.
Yeah, San Francisco police officer.
Well, the bodyguard was someone that was supposed to be while the trial was going on, right? I can't remember.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, this documentary goes way into it. It's really, really cool. Check it out. Man, it's a wild story. All right, let's go to Louisiana.